Having a little technical difficulty here. Not unusual, nothing gone right in a while. But I think I've solved the problem. Hello everybody.
I think I've solved the problem.
Uh-oh, we got one more problem.
Hello everybody. I think I've solved the problem.
We can't have that.
Hello everybody. I think I've solved the problem.
Now how am I going to do this?
Hello everybody. I think I've solved the problem.
We're going to get some whistling in here. Oh, that's better. Hello folks, my name's Ronnie. While Bob's on his way, he's off of selling appliances of some kind. We have been trying our best to get some new modes of delivery fixed up. So last week we had a great show that didn't go anywhere. Then we had another show that didn't have any sound. So we're thinking about firing our engineer, and that'd be me. But you can't get anybody else to work for what I work for, which is less than nothing. So we're working on it. We're going to get it fixed up. We are going to do some changing before too long, at least by the new year, to kind of come up with some new approaches, new information, new entertainment. Politics are getting old. You can't trust politicians. They all a disappointment, even to their own mothers. But that's just part of life, I reckon. Like I said, Bob will be along shortly. He's got sidetracked. In the meantime, I guess everybody knows it's raining, and we didn't go up to the parking lot dance this evening. Although, and I don't know whether they're having it or not, but although we didn't show up there for the main event, they don't really get started till about 8 o'clock anyway. I may drop in up there and kind of check out the crowd when this is over and do a little broadcasting from there if they are there. I'm not sure where they will be. The rain's good, we need it. We're going to have frost right shortly. But as it stands right now, I really didn't want to be out there with a bunch of video equipment getting rained on. I would like to take this opportunity to address another little concern, and that's that our sponsors, who have been so loyal and supportive of us, need your support. They need your business. They don't want your money unless they deliver a product that you want. But I have full confidence that they have a product that you want. Each one of them has a product or service that would be an enhancement for your daily life. That means you'd like what you get there. Dixie Concrete, for instance, they are locally owned. It's a couple of brothers that have worked hard, long hours. They learned what it's like to make it on your own without Professor, Senator, President Obama doing it for them. They build it themselves, and they are down here at the bottom of the hill, waiting on you to call them to buy some concrete or concrete products or a new septic system. And they appreciate your business. They know how to do business. They know how to take care of their business and their customers. I highly recommend Dixie Concrete. And the reason I highly recommend Dixie Concrete is because they're about as good as you can get. You know, we usually don't even give out a phone number for Dixie because they are impossible to confuse with anybody else, and they're in the phone book. I suggest you give them a try. I'm working on a little something right here. Sorry to be a little bit distracted, but I'm trying to rework stuff. We're going to do a little more live broadcast. It's beyond our financial and technical capabilities to bring you live broadcasts of the same quality you'd get from ESPN or NBC. We're not in that league. But we can bring you something that will interest you, bring you something that you can't get or see any other way. And our staff would be me working full time, as we get the chance, to perfect our techniques and to do you better. Now, if you want to call, I got something we want to talk about, 562-2676, and we'll talk to you. If you want to talk about the local or national elections or the proposed new, did you know they got the sales tax thing up for a vote again? That's right, we're going to have it on the November ballot. That new county commission that we so proudly elected when we turned out over 2/3 of the old county commission, we come back with a new group, and evidently they believe that it's their job to find a new way to get taxpayer money, so they can spend it on all those wonderful things that taxpayers have been clamoring for. Like an incubator or a phase 2 and 3 of the Campbell County Park, or stuff like somewhere to store the voting machines between the elections. There's been just a public outcry for stuff like that, and this new council realizes that the only way you can fill that need is with adequate money. I got fruit flies here. Is with adequate funding, and the only way you can get adequate funding is to take it away from the people that work for it. And this new county commission, almost, not completely, but almost all of this new commission is out there to help you decide. No, they don't want to help you. They just want to take your money and decide for themselves how to spend it. While we anxiously await the arrival of Wild Bob, I'd also like to mention to you that Digger Wilson has a propane store down there in the middle of the road in Sawmill Holler, right there and smack dab in the middle of the road, there where Ridner Lane and whatever that other one is splits. And he knows propane. He knows it well. He's a propane dealer par excellence. I think that means he's real good. I hope it does. And he is there ready with a full supply of the new winter propane, just waiting to make sure you've got something good and warm to take care of you this winter when that frost comes right shortly. 562-5444 if you have questions or needs regarding propane. Propane's serious. May not be serious to you unless you're cold or want to heat your tent or light your campsite or run your portable propane refrigerator or operate your torch. Digger's the man. Digger's the guy you need to see. That said, we have an upcoming election, and in my humble opinion, we have very little choice. In fact, we've got 3 people running for 2 seats, which means there's almost no choice there. I was remarkably disappointed in the people who were elected in the last election. Bob and me went way out on a limb to contribute to the campaigns and promote a couple of candidates, and to say that they have been major disappointments would be just a vast understatement. I don't know what it is about success, and by this I mean success, you get to be an official in a metropolis like Raleigh. I mean, that is actually getting up to the upper echelon of achievement. But to think that, in my opinion, modest ascension would be sufficient to make fools of people says very much about their limited expectations of themselves. Anybody who will sell their honor for a position in local government to say that they're disappointing is just wasted words. Now then, let's get to this year presidential election. Apparently, Mr. Romney has offended some people. I think offended a lot fewer people than the people who promote his gaffes would like us to think. But he's apparently offended somebody because he said that he didn't have to worry about offending 47% of the people who pay no federal income taxes. He made that statement in reference to political strategy. What he meant when he said it, and he was plain in his words, is that there's no use in us expending our resources, our money, to try to win over people who, through a message that we will lower your taxes, if these people have zero taxes, that's not going to appeal to them. We have to find other ways to appeal to them. But even taken as his opponents would portray his sentiments, to say that he has abandoned that 47%, which he did not say, but to say that he thinks that people who have no skin in the game don't deserve the same recognition as those people who go out and work. And mind you, you don't necessarily have to be a taxpayer to be a contributor to society, but I'm thinking that we need to quit worrying about offending people and start treating our country more as a government that is on the verge of total collapse and failure, and try to resurrect it. I hope you see it that way too. Romney is not my choice for a candidate, but at least he's worked for a living. Something more than getting out as a rabble rouser and community organizer. And I don't know, I'd say community organizing is probably pretty lucrative. I mean, you get, I think our president's worth is estimated to be around $10 million right now. That puts him in that league of millionaires and billionaires, really. But that's okay. That's well and good. I'm glad he's rich. I hope he does as well as Al Gore as soon as he gets out of office, and I hope he starts with that new venture soon. I personally am a little fed up with government that can tell you everything. A government city, county, state, or federal, that can tell you, that can be your source of income, the go-to authority on anything you want to accomplish, controls your life. I don't think that's why this country was founded. I don't think that's the principle on that embodies what we had in mind, or what the founders had in mind. And I know it's not. It's certainly not a place where I want to live. I like being on my own. If the government will get out of my way, just keep the peace and make sure that contracts are enforced and leave me alone, I'll take my chances on survival. I'll be glad to contribute to the people who are unable to provide for themselves. I will be in total objection to contribute to the people who are too lazy or too unwilling to provide for themselves. But it's a proven fact that people who are allowed to make their own way are much more willing to contribute to those who need help. The people who are always up to spend tax money to promote less fortunate folks are usually very opposed to using their own money. 562-2676 if you want to call. I know you're out there because I can tell how many people are watching, and I appreciate you looking. Bob said he would be 10 or 15 minutes late, and by my clock he's 20 minutes late. So I look for him in another 15 or 20 minutes if he don't get lost. We are seeing a lot of changes going on locally and in the state and federal level that I don't believe look too promising for the future of us and our country. We have too many people who are willing to sacrifice their own self-interest. And wait a minute. They'd rather be taken care of is to be responsible for themselves. And that is just not good at all. Let's see what we've got here. I don't know what that was all about. I get messages during the show a lot of times. I get a lot of information that I don't know what to do with too. I just pulled up something here. Let's see what this is all about. This is an email from Stephanie Cutter, who is a campaign associate or some sort for Barack Obama. And she says, yesterday a leaked video from a closed-door fundraiser showed Republican presidential nominee Mitt Romney telling a room full of big money donors that Americans who don't support him think they're victims who don't take personal responsibility and care for their lives. Now, I saw that thing. That's not what he said, but this is good spin. She goes on to say, so rarely over the course of the campaign we have gotten to hear Mitt Romney say what he believes in such a revealing, unfiltered manner. This is one of those moments. It is important that we make sure that the people in our lives who are just tuning into this election know what disdain and contempt Romney has for half of the citizens of this nation he wants to lead. Take a look at the items in this tip sheet and then share them with others. So they're putting a pretty good spin on it. That's okay. Okay, here's the key part of this email. P.S. Another way to fight back against Romney and his divisive politics is to chip in and help fund our grassroots campaign. Romney has big money donors at closed-door fundraisers. President Obama has you. Chip in $25 or more today. If the government would just give me what they have taken from me this year alone, I would give them half of it back. I don't believe that's going to happen. The problem is most people don't look beyond what they want to see. If the spin spins in your direction, Democrat, Republican, conservative, or liberal, whatever you are, if it suits your view, you'll continue to go along with it, and if it don't, you'll reject it. Politics is dirty business. I know that I've been getting these emails. They wanted, if I happen to be getting married, which I don't plan to do, but right, well, never mind. I'm looking for somebody that's independently wealthy and thinks they could put up with a hillbilly. But anyway, I keep getting these. I got this email from Michelle. Wanted me, if I was getting married, instead of buying wedding presents, just send the money to Barack because he needed it. I don't remember him sending any to me when he got married, but I guess, I must have been out to lunch that time. If you get wanting to go out to lunch, Rainbow Restaurant has a burger basket down there that you can get. It's a real deal on a hamburger and fries and a drink. But they're mostly known for their big old biscuits and their breakfast specials. Like a big old bologna biscuit for 99 cents. Now you can't beat that. It'll fill you up. It makes a meal. If you can eat 2 of them, you're famished, but you won't be hungry for a long time after that. You can go down there and go through their sit-in breakfast bar and do really well. Let me see if we got somebody here wanting to buy something. TV. Well, how are you? Well, where have you been so long?
And kicking back every time I try to get on the computer, the wife's on it playing a game.
Well, you need to get another computer. Did you ever get your eyes fixed?
No, not even. They transferred me from the National Hospital to the Veterans Hospital up there in Johnson City. They said there's getting too many patients down there. Even though I've been going down there for 4 years for them. They solved the problem that they couldn't solve in Johnson City. And found out what was going on. Now, so I gotta wait till January now. So, I don't know.
Well, I got one of mine fixed.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it.
Oh Lord, I wish I'd get mine fixed and get rid of these glasses.
They don't put you to sleep.
No,
They just, and it's absolutely pain-free. I didn't feel the only pain, and it wasn't really painful, but the only thing I noticed is when they put an IV thing in your arm in case they need it. Of course, they give you a little something for nerves before they actually start working on you, but that was the only pain. You get one needle stuck in you and that's it. It ain't bad at all.
no. Yeah, I read up on that. I'm finally getting where I can operate this PC of mine.
You can go on YouTube and see a complete show of them doing the thing, and it looks like it. They show them punching holes in the eyeball, and it just looks terrible, but you don't feel anything. I talked to the surgeon while it was going on, and it wasn't really, just normal conversation. There was nothing at all there to worry about. And I was blind in my left eye, and now I'm reading without glasses. Of course, I can't see really fine print, but I see as well as I've been able to see in a long time.
But I'm glad that I am. Where's your partner at?
He called me and said he'd be about 10 or 15 minutes late. So can go down there and eat. It's all good, or you can get their little breakfast special, 2 eggs fixed the way you like them, sausage, bacon, or bologna, biscuits or toast, and grits or gravy, and it's all good, and it's $2.99. You can't beat it. Now, Roger, I've sold some breakfast. Tell me about it.
Okay, just thought I'd give you a yell, see what your take is on that over there in the Middle East.
Well, I'm definitely not an expert on that part of the world, but I think we need to quit dancing around trying not to offend somebody and start sticking up for our own best interests. And as bad as it may sound, the problems they had with Mubarak in Egypt, the United States was actually, and Israel was much better off with him in power than they are with what we've got going on now.
Oh yeah, they should have left things alone the way it is.
I know that those people may have not been real happy with the way Mubarak was doing business, and he may have been a thug. I don't know, but that is their chosen way to live. If they want to come out and do something different, then okay, but let them solve their own internal problems before we go out on a limb for them. I just think that I think we've got enough problems without trying to take on stuff we really can't do anything about.
I told you several years back, I don't know if you remember, about when we first went over there, before it was over there, they put somebody else new in power. That before it was over with, they turned against us.
Well, they always do.
Yeah, and they're burning our embassy over there, or trying to, in Saudi Arabia, and wanting us to forgive a $2 billion bill.
Saudi Arabia?
Yeah.
No, Saudi Arabia, I don't think they owe us any money. You're not talking about Egypt or Libya, are you?
It might be Egypt. It's one of them countries, either Egypt or Saudi Arabia, one.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's Saudi Arabia, but here's the thing about it. We go around apologizing for the actions of our own citizenry when we're supposed to have freedom of speech, and we're supposed to apologize for what somebody puts on YouTube. That's a slippery slope. We're not going to ever accomplish anything if we abandon our basic freedoms. There's nothing left. Look what just walked in. We got the Wild Bob here now.
Hello, Bob.
Hey.
How you doing there, my friend?
I've been doing a little work, you know. Somebody's got to pay the rent around here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, now, on this apologizing, I've given this a lot of take, you know, and we try to respect religions here in this country and everything, but Islam is not just a religion. Their governmental headquarters are located in their mosque. Their government is set up and operated by the clerics, by the mullahs, I like to call them mothers, by the ayatollahs, and I think really that we ought to bomb their mosques when we have a conflict with them, because that's where they're directing all of their warfare from and their jihad from. And I think we ought to make a parking lot out of Mecca.
Well, folks, this is Wild Bob Andrews.
Wild Bob.
If you want to call in an airstrike, wait till he goes home.
Nah, I don't believe in like Mecca, because that's where all Christianity started. You know.
I think you moved it over a little bit, but
Well, their religion is about like I look at having absolute freedom. You know, their religion is fine as long as it don't step on mine. and your
Right.
freedom is absolute, but it stops at the end of my nose.
Yep. Yep. That I can I can understand part ways they feel, and then another way I just it makes it madder than hell us giving them all that money and them turning around and doing us the way they want to,
Well, see,
like they are, and then they're raising hell with us burning our embassies.
right now you had Mubarak in Egypt. He had kept that country at peace with Israel and its neighbors for over 30 years. Now, he had to do it in his way, which people don't like authority, but he had to do it in his way. Then we come along and sponsor this Arab Spring. It was sponsored by Hillary Clinton, this woman that's in our United Nations ambassadorial post, and what's this other woman's name? Powers? I believe her name is Powers. She, Hillary Clinton, and what's that woman that's the United Nations name? Fry?
Sounds right.
Huh?
Sounds right.
Right. Sounds about right. They're the ones that laughed
No.
on camera and on tape.
Don't we have another Rice? Don't we have another Rice? Ain't the woman named Rice that's at the UN now? Not
Right.
Condoleezza.
Right, yeah, that's her
Not
name.
Condoleezza,
That's
but
her
a
name.
different one.
But Hillary Clinton laughed and made fun that they killed
Bin Laden.
not Bin Laden, but Daffy Duck over in Libya.
Oh, Gaddafi. Yeah, that's
Gaddafi.
right.
She laughed, says he run, he hide, and we found him and we killed him. Then she just laughed like all get out. Then she's been going around and bragging that we killed Bin Laden. Well, all that rubs more salt into the wounds than any little old video that I guarantee you 1 out of 1,000 or 5,000 Muslims have not seen that video.
No, well, they asked, even the ones that started see, it's not the Muslims of the countries. It's the ones that are coming in. It's the Taliban and them other ones that's run their mouths that come in after the peaceful protesters got started. That's when all hell broke loose. Is when
I've never really seen too many peaceful protests except the one that we did on the dog ordinance down here.
We beat them on that one too, didn't we?
But,
But it ain't got us no
the Occupy
accolade.
Wall Street protest movement is not peaceful. None of your left-wing socialist demonstrations are ever peaceful. And communism and socialism, usually it takes violence to bring those people into power. And so that's...
Communism is simple. I detest communism, plain and simple. And anybody that stands for it, that's, I just, makes me sick in my stomach. I don't know why, I was wondering why instead of forgiving them debts, why can't they give us oil in return
Well,
for the debt?
Well, here's the thing, and I had a good discussion with somebody the other night, and we finally came to the conclusion to fulfill a environmental agenda. The government is forcibly making people in this country pay more for fossilized fuel, for oil. And they intend to do that. They don't care what kind of burden they put on the American people as long as they get their way. I said, well, look, why is the oil that we produce here in this country and here in this hemisphere, why is it dirtier than the oil that we're buying away from the Arabs? And that's what I can't understand, why we would need to send almost $1 trillion a year to the Mideast to pay for the oil that's been brought over here. And of course it costs more to bring it over here and process it than it does to pipe it down from the Dakotas, pipe it down from Canada to our refineries and process it that way. But no, they want to wean us off of oil, and they want to do it by making us pay through our teeth for every drop of oil we use.
Well, they got too many tree huggers out there is what they got. And, they don't want you to do anything with the land. And what they want to do when the country goes broke.
Now, Romney has already said when he's elected that he's going to remove the barriers to drilling on federal land. There's been a lot of oil leases, used, but it's all been on private land. And the government has millions and millions and millions of acres of where the oil is. You got to drill where the oil is. They have kept them from drilling in the shallow waters off the Gulf Coast. They made them go out there and drill 2 miles deep, or if they did have a rupture or something, it was practically impossible to shut it off immediately. If you have problems in the shallow waters, you can do it right then. Very little oil will escape. It's just one thing after another that the government has done to impose sanctions on the American people. That's what we got, sanctions on the American people.
I know, it's just, we got enough oil on our own shores for how many years, they say. What was it, 100 years we got enough, I believe? I really don't know the exact figure. But there's enough oil there to last my lifetime, your lifetime, our kids' lifetime.
Right.
And yet it's laying in the ground up there because of them tree huggers.
There was an article in the paper Sunday about we could theoretically produce all of the power we would need, probably 20 times more power than we're currently using by wind power. But you would have to have a windmill every 1 square mile, and since in a lot of those 1 square miles the wind ain't blowing, you would have to concentrate them to where the wind is blowing. Then you got to do transmission lines. Then you've got to refurbish and re-equip the American transportation system to run off that type of energy. And when it all got down to it, they said due to economic concerns that it's not possible at this time.
I don't think it'll ever be possible. There are several ways.
Something's going in their pocket.
There are several ways to generate electricity using the tides and wind
water
and solar and all that. But let me tell you, the sensible thing to do is use the resources that you have that you can make use of. One thing that petroleum has that lots of other, and petroleum I mean also natural gas and whatnot, but especially petroleum that's so versatile and it's transportable, it's storable, you can pipe it from one place to another. Try flying an airplane on solar power. Try flying an airplane even on propane. It could be done, but it's not practical because of the space limitations. In order to get enough energy to fly a jet airplane on propane, it would have to be so big you couldn't haul anything but natural gas, liquid propane. You need to use the resources you have, and I think that the sensible thing to do was to use the modern, safer developments that we have for nuclear energy. We can build. They theorized back in the 40s and have proved it in principle and built some reactors based on a pebble bed technology. And what that is, instead of having these here reactor rods, you have this nuclear material kind of in a bed in such a way, and I don't know, I don't pretend to know how that you do it, but the danger with the type reactors we have now, if you have a power failure or any sort of a malfunction in your control mechanism, which if you have a power failure to that, you have a failure in the control mechanism, it can overheat and get out of control. It won't explode, but it can just sit there like a blowtorch, just putting out nuclear waste into the atmosphere, and can go on for centuries, really.
That's in a reactor now.
With pebble bed technology, if something goes wrong, it shuts down.
Right. Now you're talking about fusion.
No, I'm not. Fusion is still not practical, and probably fusion is always 5 years away, 10 years away. It's been 5 or 10 years away since 1940.
I know that.
But pebble bed is a different type of fissionable reaction, and it's manageable. It's self-contained, and you don't have to build. You can build these on a small scale. It's even theoretically possible. You can't do that, of course, because of safety concerns.
One for each city, or
you could have one for each house.
Right.
But to have one for each zip code.
Right.
You can, well, maybe not a zip code. Each call code, area code. You could do that, and have these things. Now you get into the other problem of terrorists going in and stealing your stuff and making a dirty bomb. They're not going to make a bomb that will explode at it.
There's no way you can make meth out of that stuff.
They'd find a way. But you've got the danger. You have to secure it to the point where people couldn't go in and get it and take a pile of that and wrap just a regular dynamite bomb and just spread it out everywhere.
Right.
You have a real mess. So that's the biggest thing is you have to have it in such a way you can keep it secure. But there's no reason for us to be out here paying $4 a gallon for gas, and that holds back everything. It ruins the whole economy.
That's right. Well, look at them poor farmers, what they're having to pay for diesel for their tractors.
What about them poor old truck drivers?
Yeah.
Can you imagine pulling into a filling station and spending $2,000?
Yeah, that's what they do,
Yeah.
I remember pulling in and filling up for $120.
And then they got to pass the cost right on to the consumer. That's what I say. It is an economic sanction that the government has imposed, our government has imposed on the people of this country.
Well, I can remember when you could fill up for $50.
Well, I put $92 in one of my vehicles the other day.
Well, but do you remember when diesel was about 20 cents a gallon?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I was talking about operating one of them 18-wheelers.
Yep.
And $120, fill it up.
Yeah, but in your lifetime and my lifetime, you were too little to be driving trucks in, but you could have took that same truck in and filled it up for less than $50.
Yeah, sure
and
could.
now it could cost you, let's see, 2, 3.
It's what, $4.90 something a gallon?
Yeah, you're getting up around $1,000 for 200 gallons.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
this is imposed on us by our government.
Yep.
Our government has done that. We've let the environmentalists get control of the policy making of this country. And it has imposed these sanctions, these economic sanctions, these man-made, government-made prices for us. And even if we have to pay the same amount for fuel, we ought to be paying it to ourselves rather than sending it over to the Arabs and them shooting it back at us.
Well, here's the thing, Matt. You can see where I remember when gas was 32 cents a gallon. We sold a whole lot of it, 32.9, and now it's over 10 times that. But things have adjusted, and we've learned to live with it. And I contend that times were a lot better when energy was just cheaper. But we have learned to manage at $3 and something a gallon. We're not happy, but we've learned to do it. It's took a lot of stuff away from us that we could have enjoyed more than buying gas, same amount of gas for more money. But what you get into is this sudden changes. I mean, going from $1.70 3.5 years ago up to $3, and the lowest price right now is $3.67. Yeah, right now. So you've got a doubling, and in that length of time to try to readjust your finances that quickly, and everything else that's being pushed by gas prices too, that's what hurts you. You never get caught up. We'll never be as wealthy as we were at one time. And
unless we go back to producing the energy here in this country and using that energy to do what we've done before, and that's outproduce everybody else.
If we
what really gets me is these companies in the United States that sent all their work across these borders and got their headquarters here in the United States and making billions and billions of dollars. Now, how in the hell do they expect the American people to pay for their product if they don't have no job?
Let me ask you something. Why do they do that?
So, but they can make more money.
Why? How?
Well, when you pay somebody maybe 30 cents an hour to work, and
well, you know the labor costs are far from being the total cost, and you've also got shipping involved in anything you produce out of the country. Don't you think that if they restructured their tax laws, that some of that money would come back in here and create jobs here?
I guarantee it would.
If we had a significant restructuring of our tax laws, we got a lot of money that'd be tickled to death to come back to this country, a little safer, politically safer environment. Somewhere it has been anyway. Than to sit out there in a bank somewhere in Switzerland. It would be here doing something, and it would be generating jobs and taxes rather than hid out so that they won't be taxed to death for bringing it back into the country.
Let me give you a good example of why it can be done two different ways. Right now, the government has embarked on a program whereby the Federal Reserve is going to be pumping somewhere around $40 billion per month into the economy. All right, that is somewhere around
half a trillion
dollars a year. Okay, now it's estimated that there's over $5 trillion in offshore accounts and foreign accounts of American money that, if they did not have to pay this ultra high tax on it, would be brought back into this country. Now, can you imagine if we said, look, bring your money back, we're going to let you bring it back tax-free. Now, rather than pumping $40 billion a month,
counterfeit money.
This is money that has nothing to back it up. Rather than pumping $40 billion of this phony money into the economy each month, you will be bringing back into this country real money at the rate of somewhere around $400 billion of money per month. Now, you think that wouldn't set this country on the right road to recovery?
It sure helped, I know that. But something's got to be done, or else this country's got down the tubes. That's all there is to it. I hate to say it. I love this country with all my heart, but Lord mercy, them idiots in Washington,
Now, we got enough idiots on the local level to make up the difference, too.
Right.
I'll guarantee you that. Now, no names mentioned. They know who they are.
What about the plain truth? How come you ain't participating in that right now?
We have been on the past 2 weeks.
No.
Rick went down there to Cove Lake to...
Yeah, did you go to incubator?
Pardon?
Did you go down and get incubated?
No, he went down there, him and his son. And actually, it sounds like a pretty good idea from what...
oh, yeah, it's brilliant. It's the best way I can think of from to waste money.
Huh?
It's the best way I can think of from waste money. I tell you what I'll do. I'll give you $10 for every business, say Start, if you give me $1 for everyone, give me $1 for everyone that would like to have a little help and can't get it.
Oh man, I ain't got that much money.
Well, okay, let's do it a different way.
Yeah, I know.
You just find a business that they promote and help start that hires some people. Now, let me tell you something. Starting a retail business is not going to be of any benefit to this county. If you find a manufacturing business that actually creates some wealth, you've got a different ball game. I'll give you $10 for everyone that they will incubate.
It seems like
I got to figure out what I'm getting out of this. I'll figure out my payoff.
Now what I'm going to do, everyone that they claim they started up that's a retail operation,
yeah,
as opposed to those that are manufacturing operations, pays a difference.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you're sitting there answering a telephone instead of out there manufacturing.
Well, here's the thing. If you just got a retail business, you're a net pump for money out of the county. If you've got a manufacturing business, you're a net pump of money into the county.
Money in.
And speaking of that, we got to tell them about Napa and Vital Care.
Oh yeah, I was up at Napa today. You know.
You definitely got to tell them about them. Yeah.
562-9406 or 562-2529, and that's
I went
Napa.
up there today. My little truckie was running just a little bit warm in the radiator department, and I got my big old jug of Napa radiator cleaner. That's one reason I wasn't thinking when I took off up to Valley with that stove that I wasn't going to get back in time, because I was wanting to run it with that Napa radiator cleaner in my radiator. And I ran it up there and run it back. It says run it about 3 to 6 hours, so I guess I have to go drive round and round the building here for the rest of the night to get that time in.
That'll buy gas if you have to drive it that far. They got it, all sorts of parts and automotive needs. I went up there and got parts for a boat last week.
Special on oil and oil filters.
Up there across my IGA, that'd be the National Auto Parts Association locally loaned and affiliated store.
Let me tell you, you better go ahead and start getting your antifreeze.
Yep.
Because I understand there's going to be a pretty good increase in antifreeze this year. And I was talking to Randy today. He said he was going to go ahead and order a bunch, not so he can do like the gas company, so he can charge the current price on what he bought cheaper, but he's going to hold his prices down on his antifreeze, and that's pure undiluted antifreeze that he's got. I'm not sure exactly what his price is going to be, but I done put in my order for 6 gallons.
Well, I've got some left over from last year, but I've got to start antifreezing things up for long. And by the way, if you get too much antifreeze and need a ride to the hospital, you might want to get Vital Care lined up.
Yes,
they are at 562-9370. They will take you in their pretty little ambulances and treat you like you royalty.
Right, now if you drink some of that Jack Daniels antifreeze, they probably can do something for you. Now if you drink some of that glycol alcohol, you might need to go to Campbell County Memorial Gardens, you know. I guess they'd ride you out there too.
Yeah, that's named after there.
562-9370 for Vital Care. They the finest little outfits you'll ever run into when you need them.
I talked with Ronnie. We want us to go down and film their little operation they got going down there. They've made a beautiful operation out of that old rescue building.
We'll do that, won't we?
Okay.
Yeah, we'll make them. We don't have to work hard to make them look good, but we'll show off how good they do look.
People to see, you know, what can be done without having to spend our taxpayers' money to do it. Now, they didn't have to incubate.
They didn't, did they?
No, Vital Care was not incubated. Okay, they were not artificially inseminated.
You know, TV needs a little incubation.
Right. UGG TV was not artificially inseminated either.
Well, it was incriminated. Let me tell you what.
Superior design.
Let me tell you what we got to do, Roger. We do appreciate you calling, and we hope you get everything fixed up and go get your eyes fixed. But we're going to have to go because we've about got our hour in.
We'll enjoy your show
And
always.
TV cannot afford to pay us any
No, we don't
overtime.
get no overtime. Take care of yourself, Roger.
See ya.
Y'all too, and that's y'all.
All right.
See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow.
We'll be on Channel 12 tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Thank you, Roger. Tell them bye, Bob. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, folks, we're going to tell you bye. I know you appreciate me being late, but I apologize for being late. I just got overwhelmed by all of that goodness from Napa Auto Parts for my little truckie.
I'm going to be late tomorrow night. Yeah. I don't plan to be. I'll be there. Channel 12, 8 o'clock tomorrow.
And don't forget the LA Cruisers car show
This Saturday.
this Saturday, that's September the 22nd, starting at 10 o'clock. There's no fee charge to go in. They've got concessions available. They got prizes they award. They're going to give $1,000 away, and no member of the LA Cruisers or anybody can win it. So just going up there to the high school this Saturday.
You're going to enter the brook?
My mechanic's coming tomorrow and going to get that Brook tuned up, and I'm going to take it up there. He's got to win first place because he'll be on one in his class.
It's got to be the one everybody goes to see. Thank you, folks.
See ya.
See you.